Fan Sports, the sports show that is dedicated to the Seattle sports fan. My name is Dave. This is Kevin. We are here on a Tell the Truth Monday. And before we get into telling the truth about how we feel the Seattle Seahawks are inept or not doing quite what we want them to do, please do us a huge favor. Subscribe if you're new here. Make sure that you turn on the notifications. Make sure that you give thumbs up, give thumbs down if you don't like what we're saying. And also make sure that you leave comments because, man, I tell you what, we got a lot to comment on this game, good or bad. And I'm telling you, the bad far outweighs the good. Way outweighs. Kevin,
yeah.
Again, Tell the Truth Monday, which is a staple in the Pete Carroll era. I'm going to say that the truth to me is that we got whooped by the Minnesota Vikings in all three phases of the game. We got whooped in how our team was prepared. The scheme, I've heard people calling for Ken Norton's head. I've heard people calling for Trey Flowers' head. I've heard people call for it. You know, there is not a head that's safe in Seattle. There's a couple guys that I thought gave 1,000,000%. We'll get into that. You know, we got the Gerald Everett's and the Will Disleys, who, you know, you and I have been high on the tight end position for a while. And man, I tell you what, those two guys, if we can ever figure out how to use them, and I know we said that for a long time with Graham when he was in Seattle. How do we use him? Because he's really good. Yeah. But yeah, and Walter knows how to use them. Kevin, you know, give me a quick synopsis about what you thought about the game.
Well, I actually thought the first half was a very good game. I thought it went back and forth. I thought our defense was just putrid all game long. Absolutely. Really was not anything good to say about any of them. I mean, we just paid somebody $17.5 million, and I think he looks like crap so far this season. I haven't seen anything from him that I'm like, oh, wow. You know,
I'm going to tell you, he made one play that Madison ran a sweep, and he was on the other side of the line, and he came all the way. But that's it.
That was it.
I mean, I was watching. I'm like, oh, here's my popcorn. I've got Jamal Adams show. And man, I'm telling you what, if I would have bought him at Walmart, I would be in line right now waiting for my refund.
I really thought we did put some pressure. I know a lot of people are going to argue with that and say we didn't, but I thought we were in Kirk Cousins. I know who I'm talking about you. I thought we were in Kirk Cousins' face. I mean, we had quite a few pressures. Yeah, we only had a couple sacks, but I really believe that one sack. We put a lot of pressure on him. He was thrown off his back foot. He has 3 quality receivers that caught the ball. Every ball that went to him that they could touch, they caught, unless it was behind them. You know, they had a tight end that had a day that our tight end should have every day. They had a running back that ended up with 171 all-purpose yards. It just absolutely does not make any sense how our defense was not able to either get home or stop anybody. And then we get to the second half, and you and I have a huge disagreement, and my head's going to explode. But that's my synopsis right at this point. We'll talk a little bit more.
Well, Kevin and I have had a little bit of a disagreement. Kevin is he's putting a lot of blame on Russell. And unfortunately, I'm going over Russell's head. And I'm saying that right now, Pete Carroll and the way Pete Carroll wants to do things is stagnating the Seattle Seahawks as a whole. Here's what I mean. We are not at all disguising our defense. Unfortunately, the National Football League is a chess match. And we are basically saying before the ball is snapped, hey, we're in cover 2. We are in this coverage, that coverage. We're going to play off the ball. We're going to blitz this guy, and we're going to blitz this guy. 92% of the time, the Seattle Seahawks are not disguising their coverage in any way. And the fact that any experienced quarterback can walk up to the line and he can survey and be like, okay, I know where I'm going to go with the ball before it's even snapped. That's why they have pre-snap reads. That's why, I don't think I really saw them audibling out of anything. They knew what was coming in the whole game. The next closest teams to us disguise at 60%. That means that the rest of the NFL is 60% disguise and lower. Means that you don't know where that blitz is coming from. You don't know whether we're going to run to a cover two, whether we're going to go with a one high safety. You don't know what's happening. They know what we're doing right from Jump Street. Right. And unfortunately, we're playing at a disadvantage that way. And it's because Pete Carroll is not he's going to run it his way. And unfortunately, the National Football League is a league of adjustments, and we are not adjusting. And we are going to say that we're just going to play the same way that we always play. And you know what? You guys, we'll make the plays. And unfortunately, right now, we're not coming close to making the plays.
Well, Dave, you told me earlier that we were talking about the 2013 season, that we had, Sherman and Chancellor and
Earl Thomas and Brandon Browner
and the trash talker. So, but here's my question is though, would those guys have been as good if we didn't have the defensive ends we had at that time that were putting pressure on the quarterback every play and only giving him a couple seconds to throw the ball? Would they have done it? In my opinion, are our cornerbacks as good as they were in 2013? No. I think we have good safeties, and we've talked about it numerous times. I think it's still a lack of pressure up front, getting to the quarterback and putting pressure on him, whether it's disguised blitz or blitzes in general, or just having two guys that can get to the quarterback. We don't have it.
Absolutely.
We don't have the players. And I don't think it's all the back end. And I don't think it's all, that's all we did in 2013 is, hey, this is what we're going to do and we're going to beat you. And that's the mentality that Seattle needs to have. And we have to have the players to be able to do it. Getting rid of Griffin, did he really make that much of a difference? I don't know. I don't think so. I at
least saw him somewhat try to reach. I don't think I saw our defensive backs anywhere near the football. I don't think they know what the feel of leather is.
If you don't put pressure on the quarterback, every professional quarterback can stand back there. And I believe we did put pressure. He made some great plays throwing off his back foot. Now, if we would have been able to get home on a couple of those plays, it would have been a different outcome. Totally. Mm-hmm. But you have three receivers and a tight end that can catch the ball. You got a running back that can catch the ball. He was just dumping the ball out in zones, which is what he's supposed to do. He was throwing the ball before those receivers turned around. Because
he knew what? Because he knew where the soft spots.
I'm not buying that because in the first half, Russell Wilson.
But you just told me that.
Well, what I'm saying is you're saying because we didn't scheme for it, or we were vanilla. In the first half, Russell Wilson was throwing the ball out to his guys, DK Metcalf, before he turned. What's the difference? You told me in the second half, it was because they were putting too much pressure on Russell because we were down by 2 scores. We couldn't run the ball, blah, 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 blah. I'm not buying it. I'm not saying that Pete is not guilty of this game. Shane Waldron's guilty in this game. Russell is guilty in this game because in third and fourth quarter, when we needed to make throws, I don't know what he was doing. He was throwing third and 15. He's throwing 18 yards or whatever it was. And a 4th and 15, he's thrown for a touchdown, which, should have been passing interference, but at the same point, it wasn't. So needless to say, Why are we doing that? Why not on third down? We're not checking down for a 5-7 yard gain. So our fourth down isn't near as bad because you knew we were going to go on fourth down.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
And to me, it was bad play calling. And that includes Russell because he's out on the field changing those plays. So if you're going to put blame on Pete for our offensive woes, I'm saying timeout. I'm throwing a flag on you because I'm penalizing all three of them. Mm-hmm. And on the defense, it's just a cluster.
Right.
I don't know if Ken Norton Jr. needs to have another meeting or whatever he did last year. Something's got to be done, and they need to hold themselves accountable because they're not, and they look like crap.
I agree with everything you just said, Kevin. And I know you and I had because we had a little pre-meeting here, and it got a little heated, and there was, because we almost walked off the set twice.
No.
So the simple fact is that to me again, is that it starts and ends with Pete, and if he is really the type of coach that he says he is, he's going to need to adapt, and we're going to have to come up with a game. This game on Sunday is a must win. We have to go into San Francisco and we have to beat the San Francisco 49ers.
Yep.
It's a must win. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Seattle has to win this game in order to stay alive in the NFC.
I'm also putting blame on our defense, who happens to be the absolutely worst in the league right now, giving up 440.3 yards per game. The blame is with Pete, Ken Norton Jr., Bobby Wagner, and in my opinion, Jamal Adams. Those four guys need to fix this.
I can't agree with you more. Those are the people that we pay the money to. They need to step up and come in and make the biggest contributions.
Absolutely.
All right, Kevin.
Exactly on the offense with Russell, and that's why I'm harping on Russell, is because he is getting paid $30-some million a year to be a superstar quarterback and to be a difference maker, and he's changing plays on the field, which he's supposed to, but is he making the right decisions? And we talked about it in the preseason that these guys were not practicing together. They weren't playing. None of the starters played in preseason. Did that affect the Seahawks this year? You and I both agree it did.
Absolutely.
Because when you got a new offensive coordinator, you need these guys as much playing time as possible. And even on the defense, DJ Reed, he went from one side to the other and he was injured, didn't get a play. So there was no gelling even on the defense. So I think their experiment with not starting any starters in the preseason backfired. And that is my opinion.
Agreed. Kevin, let's go over our players that we picked to click and see where we ended up for the week. Mm-hmm. And then let's go ahead and bid these guys a farewell after that, because we'll be seeing them back here in a couple days getting ready for the San Francisco 49ers. Yep. So let's start out with your pick to click, which was DK Metcalf. Again, I bow to your prowess. He was the man in the first half.
Yeah, he ended up with a 92 grade for the game, 6 catches, 107 yards, and a TD. It was absolutely outstanding. I know you had picked Will Dissly, and you mentioned Gerald Everett's name because you thought the tight ends would make a huge difference in this game. Both of them did very well. Will Dissly had an 88 grade. Gerald Everett had an 80 grade. I want to talk about Gerald Everett.
Feed my boys more.
Oh, my goodness. He had 5 catches for 54 yards and 4 broken tackles after he caught the ball. He was a beast. And we only threw the ball to him 5 times. He caught all 5 of them. Well, I mean, the guys, it was just, it doesn't make any sense. Obviously, he got
going away from our tight ends was huge.
I mean, Gerald almost picked up 10 yards a carry, or 11 yards a carry. He was 1 yard short of 11 yards a catch. And that is ridiculous. We need to feed these guys. And Will Dissly, that 39-yard reception with the stiff arm on Xavier Woods. I mean, Yeah, we need to feed him.
All right, Kevin, let's go to our defensive side. Picks to click. You know, again, mine was he was a little upset on Sunday. Kevin, tell me about yours.
Well, I picked Alton Robinson, and when Kerry Hyder Jr. went out, Alton played a lot more in the second. And I actually thought he'd played okay. Wasn't great. I don't think anybody on defense played great. Darrell Taylor made a few really good plays. However, he did not contain the side on a couple breakaway runs, and that can't happen. So even though he did good stuff, he did bad stuff. So that offsets the penalties.
Well, Kevin, let's wrap this up in a bow because, man, I tell you what, it's hard to come in here on a Tuesday, or excuse me, a Monday. Goodness,
whatever day it is,
and talk about talk about that game. Hopefully next Monday or Sunday when we get things going, we will be able to have a much better talk. And even if it's a loss, we come in and we go, okay, we improved here, and here. But yeah, now I that is not where we're at now. So throw all of that out of the window. Okay. I still got 2 words for him, Kevin.
Go Hawks.
You have a good one.